Coming up next on Headline Humboldt, new reforms to California's mental health laws will make it easier to involuntarily commit patients who have resisted treatment. We'll get reaction from NAMI Humboldt. Also, we sit down with Tony Fuemmeler and Julie Douglas from Dell'Arte to talk about the dire financial situation now facing the world-famous School of Performing Arts. Can it be saved? Coming up now on Headline Humboldt. Of Humboldt Hill, this is Headline Humboldt. I'm James Falk. Thanks for joining us. I have so far not said or reported anything about the ongoing conflagration in Israel and Gaza, partly because it's a difficult and chaotic situation, and partly because the natural dichotomy of good versus bad isn't a good fit in this situation. Please don't misunderstand me. The acts of murder and violence perpetrated against civilian Israelis is abhorrent and absolutely condemnable in the strongest possible terms. That being said and emphasized, the situation for the Palestinians in Gaza has long been one of extreme repression and apartheid, and the reaction of Israel's army to the attack now threatens more than 1 million Gaza civilians, the vast majority of whom were horrified by the attacks. The whole situation is deeply rooted in religious faith and post-World War II politics, and as such, to even comment on the subject without coming down on one side or the other is liable to attract vehement emotions and perhaps exacerbate the divide that has transcended the regions involved and spread to almost every street corner in this country and across the world. My point here is to merely point out that the old cliches of good versus bad don't work. It's complicated, a deeply rooted conflict that threatens to destabilize the Middle East and even beyond, with malevolent actors on both sides liable to stir things up and deploy the now ubiquitous tools of propaganda in rationalizing their violent reactions. Let's all deploy the best of our critical thinking skills and empathy in this situation, recognizing that the world is infinitely more nuanced and complicated than any TikTok video or hyperbolic thread on X. I'd like to also express concern that in this moment in world history, when so much hangs in the balance, the GOP conference in the House of Representatives is paralyzed with divisions of its own. I would ask those members to remember their oaths and put the country first. Find and install a speaker, someone not on the political fringes, to help provide leadership and get us all a way to get peacefully through this situation. Now let's get on to the news. Although the weather seems unlikely to cooperate, Humboldt County will geographically provide folks here with an opportunity to catch most of an annular eclipse that's destined to hit the skies on Saturday. If by some miracle the clouds part, roughly 89% of the sun will be occluded at 9:17 a.m. in Eureka. The eclipse proper will last about 2 minutes, while the partial covering of the sun is expected to last around 2 hours. Getting that view doesn't seem likely, however. Experts are saying that a system has developed that will almost certainly keep the skies cloudy and force those determined to see the eclipse to move elsewhere to catch an unimpeded view. Better such views may well be available in Mendocino, Lake, or Trinity counties. Governor Gavin Newsom this week signed the first of a series of bills that will help transform California's mental health system, providing, among other things, a more reliable way for distraught family members to compel their mentally ill relatives into treatment. Some, however, are expressing concern that such a change could result in the violation of patients' civil liberties. We'll have Leah Nagy from the Humboldt County chapter of the National Alliance for the Mentally Ill in next week as our guest to discuss the details and ramifications of these changes. She did, however, provide some initial reaction.
Well, I think it's due, it's timely, it's so sad. So many people have serious mental illness and they have a condition called anosognosia, which means they don't have the insight that they're ill. And there's a famous book out, I'm Not Sick, I Don't Need Help. You hear that over and over again from families trying to get their loved ones help. And the cost of not helping people get medication that they may not know they need is very traumatic to our society. In the case of my own personal grandson, who was hospitalized in Los Angeles County for 3 years and then put out on the street with nothing, homeless, no phone, no money, no anything, reoffended. He's now in Humboldt County Jail with a very serious felony crime. If he had been helped early on when he was in his early 20s, he would not be in the situation that he's in now. I'm pretty positive. So there is the issue about involuntary treatment. First of all, there are laws in place There's a 5150 welfare check, so the person has to qualify to be seriously, gravely disabled or danger to others. It's not just like I could call somebody up and say, hey, my grandson needs to be in the hospital, and I do get calls like that from family members. Hey, I want to conserve my kid. He needs to be in the hospital. No, it doesn't work that way. So it takes a 5150, then a 5250, and then, a 14 days certification. So it's a whole legal process that individuals go through when they need help.
The bill in question loosens long-standing rules about who is eligible for involuntary treatment under the half-century-old laws that regulate involuntary civil commitment. Advocates and county leaders expect the new legislation to lead to more people being placed in treatment facilities against their will. Governor Gavin Newsom celebrated the legislation. Quote, California is undertaking a major overhaul of our mental health system, he said this week. In a written statement, the mental health crisis affects us all, and people who need the most help have been too often overlooked. We are working to ensure no one falls through the cracks and that people get the help they need and the respect they deserve, unquote. The big question, according to Nagy, is whether the state will step up with the services necessary to treat these folks. Voters will get a chance in March to provide that funding by voting for a proposed bond initiative and by potentially voting to overhaul how such services are funded with the redirection of a tax on millionaires.
There are 350,000 seriously mentally ill people in our jails right now, and that's quoted from a book I use all the time called Healing: Our Path from Mental Illness to Mental Health by Thomas Insel. He has a lot of statistics in there, but no, we don't have enough services. But where do we start? How do we start? We start by saying this is a need. We need to figure out how to fill it. And this whole thing is going to go on the ballot in March. People can decide. But James, I'm going to tell you, a culture and a society is measured by how they treat their most vulnerable people. When I drive by and I see someone homeless talking to themselves barefoot, out of it, it tugs at my heartstrings, because I know that could be my son or my grandson or my granddaughters. And I think it's time for us to step up as a society and say, we care enough about these people. If they don't realize they need help, we're gonna provide it for them. We're gonna help them get it.
So now we're into the interview. I'm joined by some folks from Dell'Arte. We have Tony Fuemmeler, who is the head of training programs for Dell'Arte, and Julia Douglas, who is the head of arts engagement. Julie, not
yes,
Julia.
Julie.
Yeah,
It's all right. I like to do both.
So you guys are here today to talk about sort of a pressing subject. I guess Dell'Arte is having some financial difficulties. First, I want to say that I've been living in Humboldt County for a long time. I've attended a lot of Dell'Arte events. They've always brought me and my family a lot of joy, and they've been inspiring for a lot of reasons, but one reason in particular is that it's a level of quality that you don't typically find in a community our size, and that plus the history of it really made it, I think, an institution in Humboldt County. And so I would like, and I'll put my bias right out there, I would like to see that this, you guys can figure this out. But let's start with, if someone's been living on the moon for the last 50 years in Humboldt County, let's give them a definition of what Dell'Arte is and what it does.
Sure. Dell'Arte started in the 70s with the founders Carla Mazzone Clemente and Jane Hill coming up to Northern California and trying out a few different places, first Berkeley and Panther Gap, and then eventually finding the Oddfellows Hall in Blue Lake to start a theater company and school. And then they were joined by Joan Shirley, and then later Michael Fields and Donald Forrest. And since that time, they have been running one of the few institutions like it in the country. So they produce, we produce theater that is relevant to the area and tries to also have stakehold and traditions of popular theater. And then our school itself has been an internationally attended school for its entire existence. And yeah, it's been doing a lot of things, summer festivals, shows, student residencies in rural areas, and more.
Yeah, and often you guys will cover everything from politics to cannabis to, I mean, a wide swath of issues. Can you talk a little bit about why, Julie, why it's so famous for what it does? I know that it's a well-respected institution in those circles.
Yeah, it's one of the only physical theater schools in the country, and really the only freestanding physical theater school in the country. It has a unique, as Tony was saying, these popular styles, but physical theater styles of commedia and clown and melodrama, and really expressing through the body, which is, very truthful and honest and shares the visceral human experience. Yeah. So the company and the school, right, it began as actors doing their art, making relevant theater for this place, of this place, for this place, and the community, and engaging with the community in different ways, and then teaching younger artists that art form, and also giving them the tools to make their own work, and relevant work to what the stories that need telling, the stories that want to tell, bringing those stories to their communities. If they leave here, some often stay here and become a part of this community and work with the company. And I know that was my introduction, was as a student and coming here, and it just had such an impact on my art and me as a person, that when I had the chance to come back and teach and be a part of the company, that I just jumped at it. Yeah.
It's interesting, in our day and age, that kind of physicality, I mean, being even aware of your body and existing in your personal space is kind of almost unheard of. So, I mean, on that level alone, I think this is a valuable tradition. Yeah. You mentioned a little bit of your history. Tony, what's your history with the school, and how did you come to be involved in leadership?
Yeah, I started as a student myself a little over 20 years ago, and then returned as a teacher a few years before COVID hit in mask making. And then that position grew into becoming first an interim head of training, and now fully head of training just in 2022.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Sometimes the numbers, post-COVID time just doesn't make a lot of sense anymore. It's a stretch.
Well, that's one of the questions I was going to ask. I mean, I know that you guys are facing, like I said, financial situation. Yeah. How much of that is due to COVID? I know that a lot of performing arts institutions and groups suffered because there was no way to perform. Is that what we're seeing here? Is this the tail end of COVID, or is this something else entirely?
It's definitely a kind of a perfect storm, right? So right before COVID, funding opportunities were shifting and changing. We had a long-term grant that ended, and they were sort of letting go of their arts wing. So we were already trying as an organization to find new funding sources, and then COVID hit, right? And everybody was shuttered, and our school had to pare back and not do our year-long for a year, and sunset the MFA. So that was definitely, COVID was a big hit to everyone. Yeah. And since, I would say the pandemic is still around, but since things started to open up, we had COVID funding that really helped sustain us through that, but that's also drying up now, right? Yeah. So, and then the changing habits of both audience and students coming back into the space is a shifting thing, and a thing that we as the new artistic leadership are really trying to address. Like, how do we create this work in this time that's meaningful for this time, but also engages folks in the way that they need and want, and we're trying to figure that out, right? And just finding how we can do that, and have the time, a little more time with a little more funding to try to restructure and really find what making art, teaching, and creating in this time means.
Yeah. Now, is there any numbers we can tell people about how much money are you needing to raise, by when? What's it look like?
Well, we're trying to raise $125,000 by the end of the calendar year. Okay. And that will serve to largely be a bridge fund, which helps us maintain basic operations that are the most basic, and then slowly, incrementally build back up, because we've had to lay off staff. And start to bring people back at fuller time to build those programs out again, so those programs can be fulfilling and revenue generating in a stronger way. But there's a lot of unprecedented things. The COVID funding was important and absolutely necessary, but it was more of a sustenance for that time, and no one can anticipate the amount of build back that would need to happen, especially with habit change. How many of us might stay in our houses even a little bit more often than we used to, or need that extra bit to, So we're trying to address that cultural shift, which is largely what it is, as well as the financial shift.
Yeah. Now you mentioned layoffs. How many people did you have to lay off, and are they furloughed, or are they laid off, like in terms of a real severance, I guess?
We've laid off 5.
5, and in a small organization.
That's close to 50%.
Yeah, that's huge.
And we had already kind of pared back a bit too, right? We'd had to kind of right size for that time, and now we're needing to scale down even more to be able to sustain and build back in that way.
And even those remaining are not at full time.
Right.
Well, that's when, I mean, as someone who was a student and saw the school, say, in full flowering, and has now come back to try and continue on with the tradition, how does it feel to be in this moment and having to deal with this? I mean, on one hand, someone has to deal with it, so, courageous to be there, but on the other hand, it's got to be sad and bittersweet that you're in this predicament.
It is. I mean, we are, the school attracts innovators and people who are making their own work, people who are creative with solving problems and expressing themselves. So I think we have all of that really to help us in this time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're still mourning the loss of Joan Shirley, who died, and one of the founding members. And we also have a lot of change in our staff makeup. Michael Fields has retired, and though we have, the blessings of the original founders who remain in Humboldt, there's still this kind of unseen kind of hurdles we have to find to jump over. And so it's exciting and sometimes daunting, but I think we can do it.
Yeah.
It used to have an MFA program, and that's since been closed, I guess is the best way to put it. And that's not something that you're looking to bring back, at least immediately, am I right?
Yeah, both our year-long program and our MFA are now on pause. Okay. They cost a lot to run, we just, and the balance of how many students you have and the cost it is to run, they need to balance each other, right? So, we already have made the choice to pause both of those for this year and try to make some different structures to put in place for different kinds of training that people might be more accessible to folks, shorter perhaps, more like our intensives and things of that nature. Some community classes that we are continuing to offer, which is new for us and exciting because folks that maybe don't want to move into theater professionally or want to learn some of the skills that theater has to provide and help folks, public speak or feel more embodied, as you said, right? Move more freely or learn some new skills. That's available. And our prison arts program is continuing.
Yeah, excellent.
So that we're supporting that in this time, and we're hopeful that that those new structures that we do plan and figure out to help bring us back will be able to come to fruition. We have hopes and some ideas, and we need to get some more support to be able to bring us into the 50th anniversary, which is also part of what we are really excited to celebrate the past and the legacy and all the things that Dell'Arte has been involved with in the community, in teaching in schools and working with community partners and teaching internationally, all of that, celebrate that, and then bridge to the future, because we are a new artistic leadership, and we want to create work, and we want to teach the next generation of theater makers. So we are hopeful, and we plan to not be one of those many theaters that have unfortunately had to close. I mean, you hear about it almost weekly, which is really sad, and as Tony said, I think we have the scrappiness, the transformation, the ability to transform and be creative, and
Well, the other thing you guys have is community buy-in. The community loves your product, it loves what you do. I think it loves what it does for the community's own stature. I mean, it's a feather in the cap of Humboldt County to have an institution like that around here. Are there students currently attending, and what's the situation with them? Have they been informed? What's the timeline like for them?
We do have our community classes still running at a professional workshop, and we are committed to honoring those programs that are filled to make sure that we can keep our promise to the public and keep some momentum going.
Yeah. One of the question I was kind of intrigued by, which it occurred to me earlier today, was that one of the things that people love about Dell'Arte is that you guys have this unique but comedic, satiric perspective on a lot of issues that we're facing. As two content creators for Dell'Arte, I mean, using the the internet term or whatever, what's the approach there? I mean, like, how would you describe the sort of spirit that you try to bring to the pieces when you're talking about something local? Because it seems like there's a consistent perspective or, intelligence about it, but I don't know. Is there any way you could describe sort of how you guys approach doing those local pieces to kind of welcome in the community? And
I'd say that you have to look for the common humanity, which also allows us to see the common foibles on all sides.
Yeah.
And by poking fun at a little bit at everyone, we can poke fun at ourselves, at others, and we can all kind of see both where we have this deep humanity that we share, and when we're sometimes a little off our rocker.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have anyone want to add?
Yeah, just to say that we with Commedia and Clown and all of these things, they offer a vulnerability and they require a vulnerability of, like Tony was saying, that true humanity, and I think it allows people to see themselves in that humanity and that beautiful imperfection, right? And then just looking for things that inspire us, that we care about. That are happening in our communities and in the world, and what's the juice there? What is at the heart of that? And then mining that for what are the characters that live in that world, and how do they engage with the issue try to show all sides of it, and again engage in a physical way that can really be felt by the audience.
And sometimes I think there's nothing funnier than physics.
Well, that's,
Truly.
Truly, physical comedy, right?
Yes.
You hit a wall, somehow it's going to be funny most of the time.
We feel it, you feel it.
Yeah.
Totally. Now, so a report in the Times Standard said that some of these issues are because of financial mismanagement. I don't know anything about it. They quoted an anonymous source, which I find really annoying because you can't track it and you don't have any idea where it's coming from. But I'll give you guys some space to react to that. Do you feel like that this was a management issue? I mean, you guys are a new creative team, so you may not even be involved in that aspect of it. But can you talk a little bit about whether or not it's because of management decisions that were made, or if it's just because of the issues that we talked about with COVID and changing habits and all that?
I'd say that the board and admin have been working together in concert for years to kind of always adjust and course correct to make sure that we are as financially accurate and sound as we can ever be.
Yeah.
And that we also have been existing for the last several years since COVID in all sorts of surprising times, but our aim is always there, and we're always in close communication about that.
Yeah. How would you guys describe the team dynamic right now? I mean, obviously people have been laid off, but are they understanding about what's going on, or is there any bitterness? What do you find with the folks that you work with?
I think that we all really care about Dell'Arte and want it to continue, and that is a recurring sentiment, is that a desire to kind of help in any way possible. And of course, it's sad, it's hard, it's there's lots of big feelings that we're all feeling, but I do feel like we are a team, even, and all want the same goal, even as we sort of shift in our formation. I really felt and been really grateful for the support and love of the place and seeing it thrive and continue.
Yeah, you guys do have the benefit of having connections to possibly one of the biggest talent pools in Humboldt County in terms of all of your former students, and they're all over the world, and they're all performers. Has there been a call put out if you guys want to help us perform, do things to raise a little money? Has that happened?
Our first round has really just been informational, and our next one coming out in next week will be lots of different calls for fundraising, for individual fundraisers, for possibilities of creating some performance work that can also gather people together, help them really remember their joy of being together, their joy of being together in a theatrical space, laughing together, and we're looking to do that as soon as possible.
It has really been great to see the alumni response online, especially on social media, of just blasting out the notice of this, the press release, and also the call to donate and support, starting their own kind of fundraising campaigns in concert with ours, and really reaching out to their communities, and that sort of larger Dell'Arte diaspora throughout the world. And we're really feeling that support and that love, and we're hoping to bring alumni into, have a big celebration, hopefully to reach that summer goal and have a big celebration with lots of alumni folks.
So on that point, if people want to donate, we talked a little bit about before the show,
Yeah.
Dell'Arte.com. There's no apostrophe there, right? Or is it a dash?
No apostrophe, no dash.
Okay, so DELLARTE.com. Okay, it's on our screen right now. You can go there, and there's a donation portal that you can click on. There's a picture, I guess, that you have to click on once you're there. And that'll lead you to a place where you can give for supporting Dell'Arte. And then there's also a P.O. Box, P.O. Box 816. Is that right? Blue Lake, California, 95525. Right?
Yeah.
And if people want to send money or well wishes or whatever you think might be able to help, I'm sure that the folks at Dell'Arte would be happy to hear it. You guys have made a sizable cultural and economic impact in Humboldt County over 50 years. What date is the actual 50th anniversary? Do you know?
That is a little
Is
bit.
it up in the air? I bet.
Okay, so they came
Bob
here.
said to Ned, this day, that kind of thing.
They came here in '71. Tell me if I'm getting this right. And then '74 was when the company was really founded as the Dell'Arte Players.
So the summer will kick off the 50th year.
Okay, so it'll be it's the start of the 50th year.
Yes.
Like the sesquicentennial thing we had in Eureka, where the whole year was with events
Right.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, what do you? So I get that question was to basically get to the point of if Dell'Arte closes its doors, what do you think Humboldt County, Eureka loses as a result of that closure? And I'll let you both get a shot at this. We have 2 minutes left.
Okay. I think that it loses this, cultural institution that has brought this unique brand of theater and training and engagement, in the community, within going to rural communities, other rural communities in the area, bringing the training and arts and helping them create theater in our rural residency program. There's so many programs that are just throughout the whole area that we've really been with and through for many, many years. And I think that sort of mirror of this place through our work, as well as this very unique training and all the folks that we engage with in all our different programs. It's really, it would be a big loss.
Well said. 30 seconds.
Yeah, we'll lose a strong way to connect in person and really share a conversation about the things that are happening in our lives locally and at large. And we'll miss all the laughter and we'll miss all the celebration of strange humanity that we are.
Yeah, I love that. That's exactly true. That's what's wonderful about Dell'Arte. It makes you look at yourself and think how beautifully, wonderfully odd and cool. Well, thank you guys. We have 30 seconds left. I encourage our folks at home to donate, dig deep. We're a generous community and they need our help, and they've been helping us for this past half century. So that's it for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Remember to stay tuned and stay informed, and happy Friday the 13th.